In this video, you will learn 5 questions you must ask before you catch feelings. Most men fall in love before they ask the right questions, and then they wonder why everything falls apart later. You need to ask before you get emotionally attached, and this can only be done in the early stages of dating. Because once you're hooked, it's too late. And these 5 questions will help you expose whether she's truly fit to build with, or whether you're just her next mistake. Let's begin. The first question you must ask her is, what does a healthy relationship look like to you? It's simple, it's direct, but most guys never ask it. You ask this to discern, does she have a vision for her life, or is she just going with the flow? So if she tells you things like, well, I want loyalty, I want respect, or even submission to the right man, I want traditional gender roles, I want a man who's going to treat me right, I want a man that I can love and nurture, that's a good sign, because it signals that she's thought about it, she values order and some normal structure for her future love life. But if she tells you something vague like, well, as long as we communicate, or as long as we're having fun together, or I don't know, I haven't really thought about it, then that tells you she's immature and she's not really ready for anything real. She's just going with the flow. And that flow usually leads nowhere. You want a woman that's not a project. You don't have to fix her or change her. You want a woman who's also serious about a relationship. And a lot of guys, they see a pretty woman, they just turn the other way. And as long as they like her, and it's kind of fun, they overlook this. But this is one of the first things you must ask her in the early stages. The second question you must ask her is, what did you learn from your last relationship? And tell me about your sexual history. I have seen so many guys they get worried at the thought of asking a woman this, but you have to try it. I did it with my girl. My clients who are successful with the women they have done the same. But it's vital you ask this in the early stages, even before a first date. If you've had a first couple of dates, you should definitely ask her if you haven't yet. Because this is where most men get scared or they play naive. But if you skip this, you pay the price later. Because you need to know, has she truly learned anything from her past? Or does she just blame all of her exes and play the victim? Does her body count, if she has one, did it come from a long-term boyfriend or boyfriends? Or from random hookups? And if it was boyfriends, what happened in those relationships? Why did it end? Has she healed? Is she over them? Because there's a difference between experience and baggage. And you're also checking, is she still living at her past? Is she sexually disciplined now? Is she clean? Or is she carrying STDs she hasn't told you about? Does she open up honestly when you ask her this? Or does she get offended the second you ask? And most importantly, does she care about your past too? Does she ask you the same questions? Because a woman who respects herself and wants something real with you, she cares about who she's bonding with, physically and spiritually. When I asked my girl this, she asked me the same thing back. And I remember she also told me, I'm so glad you asked me this, because if you hadn't have asked me right away, I would have probably asked you in the next few days. And that's how we did it, right away. Because a woman who's serious, she'll want the same integrity from you. But if she's not serious or there's something to hide, what is she going to do? She's going to react, get defensive, shut down, she'll make a face, she'll tell you it's none of your business, she'll give you a wishy-washy answer, she'll tell you that you don't need to know, that it's in the past, why do you care? And there's your answer. So many guys get into long-term relationships and they don't ask the girl, or worse, the girl's not even interested in asking him. That tells you a lot about how you feel about each other. Find this out at the beginning so you can make a decision right away with no or minimum emotional connection. The third question you need to ask her is, what's your relationship with your parents like? A lot of guys would just only ask the girl about the father, but you want to do both. Yes, the father is important, because if she had no father figure or a weak one, she may have issues with following a man's lead, or daddy issues if it left unhealed. But asking about the mother is just as critical. Why? Because that's her first example of womanhood. That's where she learned what it meant to be a wife. That's where she picked up her femininity or her bitterness. So when you ask her this, tell me about what your parents are like, you can always go deeper. What were your parents like together? Maybe the parents split, maybe they settled. What did she learn from that, from observing her parents? So tell me, what kind of woman is your father? Sorry, what kind of woman is your mother? Or what kind of man is your father? Would you like to be with a man who's like your father? Yes or no? What are your reasons? What about your mother? Would you like to be like her? Or not? And this is where you can really tell, is she bitter towards dad? Is she bitter towards mum? Does she call all men untrustworthy? Does she call all women manipulative? Pay attention. Does she get defensive and say, I don't want to hear anything about my parents. I don't want to talk to you about them. That's none of your business. Oh, I hate them. There's like anger, there's bitterness, there's resentment. Because you're not just dating a woman, guys. You're dating the household imprint she was raised in. Yes, some women who come from broken homes can turn into wonderful women, so you need to pay attention to her answer. Does she open up, maybe tell you about parents' divorce or how they split, or what went wrong in their marriage? Does she tell you the mistakes her parents made, how she healed from them, how she's forgiven her parents and moved on? You want to pay attention to those variables as well. Ideally, what you want to hear is, I love my parents, I get along with them, my dad is a fantastic man, my mother's an amazing woman, I love them, they have a good marriage. But not everybody comes from that background. It's how she's responded to it. That's what's important to discern here. Continuing on, question number 4. What kind of wife or mother do you want to be? Now this can really catch a woman off guard. And if you see the thumbnail in the video that I put, what is the girl sitting there with the man on the couch? What is she saying? She says, she's basically like, wow, I've never had a man be so direct with me before. The reason I put that there is because this is exactly what my girl said to me when we started going out. She's like, I've never had a man ask me such in-depth questions. But she also went deeper herself and not only answered hers, but asked me plenty more. And this is why I know I ramble on my channel about vetting women, but it's so important. And the right girl is not going to be offended. So question number 4 is, what kind of wife or mother do you want to be? And what I'm inferring here is, when you ask this stuff to a woman who truly desires you and has good values, that's the kind of answer you're going to get. Like, wow, I've never had a man be so serious before. And it's a compliment to you. So, question number 4, right? What kind of wife or mother do you want to be? It's simple but powerful. If she laughs and says something stupid like, well, I'm not sure, or avoids the question, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it, she's not thinking about building a life with a man. She's thinking about consuming, about taking, about extracting, because that's probably all she knows. And you're not just here for vibes and hanging out. You're here for building a vision, a family. You want a woman who tells you, I want to support a man's mission. I want to raise my children in a stable, loving home. There's nothing more important than having a peaceful family life. I want to be the kind of wife that my husband would be proud of. I want to be the kind of wife that my kids would be happy to have me at home with. That's wife energy. If you're not getting that, anything less, you're dating with a chick that's still in self-discovery phase, and you're not her project. You're not here to fix or save her. Yeah, but Christian, she's kind of nice and this potential. You don't date or marry potential. Be mindful of how she answers this question. Because girls that are fake trad, girls that are not serious about traditional gender roles, this is where you catch them. What kind of wife or mother do you want to be? I never really thought about that. But she told you she dates to marry, she's lying to you, right? And last but not least, question number 5. Do you believe men and women have different roles in a relationship and marriage? This cuts deep, it gets right to her core values. You get to find out based on her answer, does she believe that the man should lead? Does she believe in polarity, that the man is masculine, the woman should be feminine? Or is she stuck in this 50-50 feminist partnership and I don't need a man programming? If she tells you something like, I think the right man should lead and I'll gladly support that, okay, fantastic. But if she fights the question, scoffs, mocks you, or just tries to redefine or reword masculinity or femininity, or I can do anything a man can do, then you're not dating a woman. You're dating a woman who's broken, who's dysfunctional. and you will be at war with her for the rest of your life. If she does not believe that men and women have different roles in a relationship, there's parts of her that are unhealed, and that is a woman that is not ready for marriage and is not fully capable of appreciating a masculine man. There's a lot of fake trad girls that will tell you, yeah, I want a guy who leads, protects, and provides, but when it comes to her role, she don't want to cook, she don't want to manage a home, she doesn't want to nurture, she doesn't even really want kids, she's career oriented. Be very careful with these women. And by asking this question, you really get an early insight into who you're dealing with. Now, with that said, this is the end of the video. You don't need to ask all of these on the first date, quite frankly. I recommend asking them before you get to a first date. If you do a phone call, you have the girl's number, ask her. But you should definitely ask, if you haven't yet, before you catch feelings. Before you invest, you better know the answers. She's either aligned with you, or she's an emotional liability waiting to happen. Watch. If you want a full list of deeper questions I use to vet women, I break all of this down inside of my school community and more. The link's below. I'll leave it there, you can check it out. And with that said, that's been the video for today. Let me know if there's any other questions you would add, or any experience you've had dealing with women, if they've responded to you in certain ways when you've asked this. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. And with that said, I'll see you all in the next one.